God is sovereign and faithful to his everlasting covenants. He is also faithful to his declaration to Abraham that he would bless those who bless his ancient covenant people, and that he would curse those who curse them. Without doubt, the satanic Nazi regime, with its occultic roots, brought a curse upon the German nation, and millions of Germans died as a result. There is no doubt that millions of German individuals and families have been affected by the curse of Nazism.
If you talk with people and counsel them, and they come from a family background that was deeply involved with the Nazi spirit and with the persecution of the Jewish people, that it is the rule and not the exception that some kind of curse rests over this family, and sometimes for generations.
Ich weiß, dass es wahr ist, auch wenn ich persönlich viel Gnade erlebt habe in meiner Familie, aber wir werden immer wieder auch in der Seelsorge darauf hingewiesen, dass Zusammenhänge sind und dann starke Depressionen, Albträume, Ängste, Beziehungsprobleme und unbegreiflicher Hass auch oft auf Juden oder das Thema Israel sich in den nächsten Generationen auch bemerkbar macht.
There are diseases that go from generation to generation. There are histories of estrangement and divorces in families that have an irrational spiritual component with it. And only if you go deeper and deeper, depending on the magnitude of the problem, and come onto places that were kept in darkness and open them up to let some light come in, then a redemptive process can start, a healing process can start in those families. And I think for many, many families,
One person who came under the spiritual curse of Nazism is Werner Oder. Werner was born in 1951 in Linz, in Austria, where both Adolf Hitler and Adolf Eichmann had grown up many decades earlier. Werner's father was an SS officer called Wilhelm Oder, whom Werner believes was directly responsible for the deaths of at least 2,000 Jewish people and dissidents of the Nazi regime in the small town of Rabka in southern Poland. Wilhelm Oder was also indirectly involved in the deaths of many more, perhaps even hundreds of thousands of people. Werner speaks about his father, who joined the SS in 1938, shortly after the Anschluss in Austria.
He was sent for training to Dachau. In Dachau, they trained the members of the SS for Sicherheitspolizei or Sicherheitsdienst. My father did all the training, including the Gestapo, and he was then commissioned to come to Rabka here in Poland.
Wilhelm Oder became deputy commandant of what was known as the School of Murder that was set up in a former girls' school in Rabka. There, in a graveyard deep in the forest outside Rabka, where many of the executions in the School of Murder took place, Wilhelm Oder trained members of Hitler's death squads, the Einsatzgruppen, to shoot people in cold blood with a pistol or machine gun.
The Einsatzgruppen were the death squads of the SS. The SS didn't really like to do the killing themselves, so they had Einsatzgruppen which had to be trained. And the Einsatzgruppen were trained in this area in the woods. They were trained how to kill. They were trained how to be desensitized. Their conscience was being erased, and they had to undergo schooling where they had to demonstrate on live victims how to kill.
Those Jewish people who were to be the victims of these murderers that Wilhelm Oder was training were rounded up from surrounding towns and villages and held overnight in a dungeon beneath one of the outbuildings of the school that served as a pigsty.
This is a place where the Germans on the SS kept the Jewish prisoners, which they have rounded up from the area. This was the basement of a place where they kept pigs, and in fact, my father was in charge of the goods that were taken off the Jews, which includes rings, clothes and other things. And he would trade those things and valuables for pigs, which were kept above for food for the SS. And the prisoners would be crammed in here over a period of time, overnight, before they would be executed in the woods behind this building. So we will never know the horrors and the fear of death that took place in here. We don't know who the people were, how many, but we can only see that some of them have scraped in here the last farewell. So that from this room there was no way of escape. There was no way of hope. And this window was saying goodbye to the life they knew, saying goodbye to the hopes they had, and saying goodbye to any dreams of their future. The students of the Einsatzgruppen were given a pistol or a machine gun, depending, and demonstrate their skill on live victims, how to kill them. And so what has taken place in this area were firstly single-shot executions in the back of the neck, which was the basic first technique they all had to be taught. The students were observed by SS members to see if they showed any hesitation or any remorse or any regret. And if they showed any hesitation, they had to do it again and again until they could kill without hesitation. Those who couldn't were sent to the Russian front to fight as frontline soldiers. And many of the Einsatzgruppen were afraid of that because they knew if they were sent to the Russian front they would be killed. So therefore they made sure that they would do their job efficiently.
Sometimes the Jewish children were subjected to something even worse.
There are some fields around this forest, small fields where the children were told, the Jewish children who were arrested with their parents were told to run across the field. And as they run across the field, the Einsatzgruppen would train their machine guns on them and be taught how to shoot down, how to kill moving targets.